and welcome to this special program on the occasion of the Kingdom of Bahrain's national celebrations on the 16th and the 17th of December, marking the establishment of the modern Bahraini state as an Arab and Muslim country founded by Ahmed al-Fatih in 1783. The 47th anniversary of its full membership in the United Nations and the 19th anniversary of His Majesty the King's accession to the throne. The kingdom also marks the 4th anniversary of Commemoration Day, which is the national occasion that honors the kingdom martyrs and those faithful and courageous men of Bahrain who sacrificed their lives for their country and the nation. The 17th of December of every year is an occasion that will always be remembered in Bahrain's national march and will represent a source of pride in the sons of Bahrain who sacrificed their lives defending righteousness and the security of the kingdom. Celebrating the numerous achievements the kingdom has made, we are joined today by the chairperson of the National Institute for Human Rights, Ms. Maria Khouri. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you, Sarah. Always a pleasure to see you.
Ms. Maria, the National Institute for Human Rights has made several achievements in terms of developing its work and also in cooperation with other parties. What efforts have you made to further improve the work of the Institute?
Thank you, Sarah. Before I start on the achievements of the NIHR, I would like to send a message of love and compassion to the families of our martyrs as we celebrate the Martyrs' Day on the 17th of December. We think of them fondly and we commemorate this day in honor of the sacrifices that they have made on behalf of the country.
Yes.
So going on to your question, yes, the National Institution has embarked on a lot of achievements, several achievements. If I may highlight a few, we would say that, but before I highlight, I would like to say that we're always in the process of becoming.
Yes.
We're always in the process of achieving. One of the highlights that we have done this year, I can summarize them in 4 or 5 points. One is that we launched an expatriate awareness program for the Kerala Club, for the Nepali Club, for our friends, the Sudanese Club, and the Filipino Club. And we went into their community, into their clubs, explaining what is the mandate of the National Institution of Human Rights and what services that we can offer them. We believe that was a big achievement and a good success, and that resulted in solving some violations of human rights to these people. So we achieved a lot in the outreach area. The second thing is, of course, our LMRA office our office in the LMRA building, servicing the expatriate community or the labor community as well. If I may highlight as well, we've produced pamphlets in Hindi and Filipino and Malayalam for the communities, so that all about the NIHR, and we've distributed them. So that's a second thing.
And they're also available at the headquarters of the
They're available at the headquarters of the National Institution of Human Rights. Going away from the expatriate community, we've launched, of course, in August 2017, our hotline. Until today, until I've reached here today, we've exceeded 1,200 calls on the hotline. So that means that there's a big awareness of the line. We are also, we produced a child awareness and a child rights pamphlet for the child itself. As you can see, it's very child-friendly in an Arabic, and we're going to work on it in English as well and distribute it in schools and where children are aware, and it exposes the children of their rights as well. The institution, and I want to elaborate much more, is also ISO accredited, which is a big achievement. This makes us the only regional institution for national human rights that is ISO accredited. So this is quite a big achievement. We've launched what we say in Arabic, hashtag اضمن حقك, which is guarantee your right or know your right. And we promote that quite a bit. We are also part of what we call the Global Compact. The Global Compact is a UN non-profit, non-binding pact to encourage businesses to be compliant with human rights, to adopt sustainable and social development basis for their businesses, and we're part of that as
the
well.
NHR introduces these policies in order and gives awareness in them, isn't that so?
Absolutely right, especially in terms of labor, in terms of the environment, in terms of anti-corruption. So we're part of that as well.
Well, the NIHR also significantly contributed to the success of this year's parliamentary and municipal elections through the work of monitors. What can you tell us about that work? It was massive.
It was massive for everybody. I congratulate the Kingdom of Bahrain on the success of the election process. As far as we're concerned in the national institution, 67% was a beautiful number and a proud number for us to see the turnout that participated in elections. NIHR has experience in monitoring elections. Yes. We've monitored elections outside Bahrain before, in Morocco, in Jordan, to name a few. So the experience is not new to us. Yeah. We went into it to make sure that our role stems from our mandate as an NIHR, as an independent institution, established in accordance with Paris principles, accredited by GANRI. Our role was to ensure transparency, yes, and fairness in the election process, to ensure that there were no violations, yes, from those electing, from those voting, from those participating. And I would say that we were successful. In fact, if the kingdom was successful, eventually we were successful as well. Our role was as well to monitor main polling stations, yes, and of course all general stations. Yes. We had a forum that was established by the Secretariat General and the Committee of Civil and Political Rights, and we had a checklist. We would check. It would make it easier if there were any violations. Our report is about ready to be sent to His Excellency the Minister of Justice, him, yes, being the chair of the National Committee for Elections. Yes.
And before the monitors basically presumed their job in overlooking the elections, was there a kind of awareness given in what their job will be like?
Absolutely. Of course, the kingdom itself had a couple awareness, yes, and training. I name a few. One of them, of course, is attending the meeting with His Excellency the Minister of Justice that had, yes, for all the monitors. The second one, we had in-house training for our staff. We have capable commissioners and Secretariat General to do the training, and the Bahrain Institute for Political Development. Yes. They were enrolled in that intensive courses, so they went in ready. I believe having the form made their job much easier, yes, as well, because it was a checklist.
Great, yeah, perfect. Yeah. The Kingdom of Bahrain is committed to further developing its human rights field as well as enhancing its progress in other fields. Our coverage continues, but we take a short break and come back for further discussions.
يا درة الحسن البديع بما حوت أغفتي على الكون الرحيب رحابة تمشي كما تمشي العروس إذا مشت بحرين شمس النهار إذا ارتأت بحرين شطآنها عشق السماء وأرضها أعطت حياة للزهور فأورقت تاريخها تبر وسيرتها
Welcome back. The Kingdom of Bahrain in October this year has been elected as a member in the Human Rights Council for the term 2019 to 2021. The Kingdom believes that human rights are universal, inalienable, and indivisible, and recognizes the significant role of the Human Rights Council in promoting international efforts to protect human rights and addressing all violations in the framework of the United Nations system.
The following 18 states have thus been elected members of the Human Rights Council for a 3-year term of office beginning on 1st January 2019, and I will read from alphabetical order. Argentina, Austria, Bahamas, Bahrain.
The Kingdom of Bahrain operates with the United Nations and other international governmental and non-governmental organizations in various fields, including interacting with the UN Human Rights Council within the framework of the Universal Periodic Review Mechanism, where the Kingdom submitted 2 annual reports in 2008 and in 2012, and the 3rd report submitted in 2017. The development of a number of procedures through technical cooperation with the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime and the International Institute of Higher Studies and Criminal Sciences. This in turn led to the establishment of strict laws criminalizing acts of torture, cruel and inhumane treatment, adopting a new code of conduct for security forces based on international laws, and ensuring the independence of the judiciary. Bahraini entities concerned with human rights do not limit their efforts to legislations. They branch out into the economic, development, and educational spheres. These efforts, moreover, operate within the guidelines of the government's policies and within the framework of the Bahrain Vision 2030. The Kingdom of Bahrain carries out educational and media initiatives and programs aimed at reinforcing the spirit of tolerance, national unity, and peaceful coexistence between people of different religions, sects, and cultures. The Kingdom also criminalizes the incitement of hatred, sectarianism, violence, and terrorism in all media of religious podiums in line with its constitution, national laws, and international conventions. The Kingdom of Bahrain will not break its stride in its democratic, rights-oriented and progress-driven journey, and will continue to employ legal and practical means which gained recognition by objective international entities to further develop its reform project. Bahrain is also keen on moving forward to reinforce cooperation between the executive and the legislative branches, support the judiciary, and continue constructive operation with the United Nations Human Rights Council, as well as to benefit from the expertise of the United Nations and agencies. We must recall here the statement of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa on the anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, in which he stated that democratic values and respect for human rights will remain the 2 wings that will move with Bahrain to the future, 2 cornerstones of the reform project that reinforce constitutional rights according to national and Islamic values and in line with the people's will. The Kingdom of Bahrain firmly believes that the international community's efforts in the human rights arena must be based on objectivity and credibility, avoid being biased or selective, steer clear of politicization, differentiation, and respect the rule of law.
The Assistant Foreign Minister, Abdullah bin Faisal bin Jabr Al Dosari, highlighted Bahrain's achievement in the field of promoting human rights and dignity, in addition to its privilege of being elected for the Human Rights Council membership.
We are going to the Human Rights Council for the 5th time of our history. We've been in the Council 4 times before, and we have contributed positively during our mandate times. This time we go to the Council with a great track record of experience and track record of achievement, especially for the last 16 years under the leadership of King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, Hafidhullah wa Ra'ah. And the achievement we have done in the last 16 years in all areas of human rights has become an asset not only for Bahrain, but an asset for the humanity. And at multilateral level, where we need to share this with our colleagues and partners at the international community within our mandate at the Council.
The CEO of the Labour Market Regulatory Authority and Chairman of the National Committee to Combat Trafficking in Persons, Wissam Al-Absi, has been rewarded with Tier 1 status by the U.S. State Department 2018 Trafficking in Persons report for Bahrain's efforts in promoting human rights. This largely contributed to Bahrain's election as a member in the Human Rights Council for the term 2019 to 2021, after receiving 165 votes at the United Nations General Assembly in New York.
The achievement of Tier 1 in the Trafficking in Persons report as issued by the Department of State in the United States for 2018 is only one stop in our journey to upgrade the human rights and protection framework in Bahrain. This is not an individual achievement. It does not come in isolation of everything else that the kingdom has been doing to realize His Majesty's vision for a democratic, safe, inclusive society that leaves no one behind. What we did so far is only a single achievement out of many other achievements that were shown in Bahrain in recent years. And just to give an example, in the periodic review of the Human Rights Council in September of 2017, friendly countries such as India and the Philippines stood to defend Bahrain's position and to testify to the safeguards that are given in Bahrain for their nationals. This came as an improvised participation on their behalf after having seen what Bahrain has been doing on the ground. Then came the Trafficking in Persons report to further testify to that, and now the election to the Human Rights Council for Bahrain with 85% of the votes, testifying to the state that Bahrain has reached in its endeavor to realize His Majesty's vision for the country.
It's really important at this point, and after seeing that video, to point out that this issue is considered one of the highlights for the recognition of Bahrain's human rights development. What comments do you have on that?
Well, it's a beautiful tribute on the occasion of National Day, of course.
Yeah.
To us, I believe it came as a natural reflection of what we have achieved already as a nation in human rights. Last week we celebrated at the National Institution of Human Rights the 70th anniversary of the International Human Rights Day. And I said in several statements that we haven't been involved in human rights for 70 years. We've been involved in human rights for over 100 years.
Yes.
We didn't need laws at the time to implement human rights.
It was natural.
It was natural. So that's why I say it's very natural for us to be a member of the Human Rights Council. It comes as a recognition. It comes to promote. It comes for us to exchange views and experiences, and also to give our experience. We have vast experience as a nation in human rights through the several mechanisms, whether official or NGOs or national preventive mechanisms. We are committed.
Yes.
We're committed in the country to inform, to support and to strengthen human rights.
Yes. Ms. Maria, I mean, you saying that Bahrain was expected to basically have a seat in the council itself, especially as you said, Bahrain has been or promoting human rights for a very long time. We're celebrating 100 years of education, which is one of the SDGs.
Yeah.
This is also a right that the whole world pertains on. What can you tell us about how Bahrain's human rights initiatives have taken off in collaboration or in trying to promote the SDGs, the international SDGs of the United Nations?
I mean, it's very clear if you look at the coverage that we have seen in the last few months. Our report finally on human development that was issued by Dirasat. Our report, our annual report this year is going to be on several. It's going to be thematic on several of the SDGs.
Yes.
We in education, in health,
Yes.
In housing.
Yeah.
I am very pleased and proud to say that Bahrain. I was informed by one of our colleagues that Bahrain has 100% vaccination.
Yes.
And this is something for us to be very proud of, and while other countries have ways to go in that, even to start, with that.
Sure.
Water. housing. So the list is endless.
Yes.
I believe I'll let you read our annual report at the end of the year, or the first quarter of 2019, and we can have another interview and we'll talk about the reflection on the SDGs.
Definitely, that has to
I don't want to
happen.
give the report away.
Well, we also already mentioned that the NIHR had a lot to do with the parliamentary elections as well as with the municipal elections through their monitors. The legislative branch of the government played a pivotal role and gave full priority to support the NIHR's performance. What can you tell us about the support and how it facilitated achieving the goals that the NIHR aspired for Bahrain?
Of course, we look forward to working with the new parliamentary elected members, and we wish them all the best as they strive to serve, as we all do.
Yeah.
Our role as an NIHR is to provide opinions when asked or requested within the framework of our mandate when it comes to protecting human rights. In 2018, as I recall, we offered the outgoing parliament 5 legal consultations. We offered the Shura Council 2 legal consultations. We commented on the traffic law, if you recall. 4 years is not a very long time when you come think about it. A lot of laws come and go. The traffic law. We commented on the domestic helpers law. We commented on the criminal proceedings law, and we commented as well on the penal code law. I have to be very clear that we comment on articles or clauses that are related to human rights.
Yes.
Nothing else.
Yeah.
So we continue to fulfill that role. And as I said earlier, I'm sure that the new parliament will engage with us as well, especially through the Committee of Human Rights that they will have established, whether through Shura or Parliament. And we will work together, of course, to further promote and develop human rights and legislation in Bahrain.
Perfect. These are not the only laws that you consulted on, or basically you guys went through. There are a lot of other ones, but the show is too short to mention, including the family law also.
The family law, of course, that's a big milestone, you know, for Bahrain, and we're very proud of it. And of course, the Supreme Council for Women plays a very, major role in that. And from here, I wish them, all the best, and I thank them for their cooperation. And we work with the Supreme Council for Women as well, as far as, promoting human rights specifically, and of course training. And we cannot forget training, and we'll talk probably further about that later on. But that is something that we have to make a point of, the role of the Supreme Council for Women.
Yes, definitely, especially with this year's dedication of Bahrain's National Day, or Bahrain's Women's Day, to the legislative branch. That was prepared by the SCW, and also they prepared a lot of training facilities for the females or the women
entering
the elections. So that's a big part of it, isn't it?
And that said, and yesterday the Supreme Council announced as well that the year 2019 will be celebrating women in education.
Yes.
And this is something that Bahrain is very proud of.
Yes.
We are one of the first countries that, have women educated. I mean, my mother tells me that not my mother, history tells you that the first school for women, if I'm not mistaken, was in 1899.
All right.
Yeah, and that is what is known as a Raja school, which was the American mission school.
All right.
And I know that because I'm the chair of the board right now. So so it was a school for women.
Yes.
Yeah, and
it's been a long time. I mean, we say we're celebrating 100 years of education, but it's probably a lot more than that.
But it's a lot more than that, yes.
When you look at the value of education wasn't only the books and the curriculums we have today. Education was in different fields, whether it was Quran, whether it was things that basically the labor market at that time needed.
Yes.
So that was education. It's not just what we have today.
Absolutely.
The NIHR is committed to strengthen the capabilities in a human rights field in order to maintain and provide an effective service. What are the initiatives and training courses launched by the Institute in this regard?
Okay. I mentioned a few minutes ago our cooperation with the Supreme Council for Women. Of course, this is an ongoing thing, and it's an ongoing thing not only with the Supreme Council, but also with the BIPD, the Bahrain Institute for Political Development, the Judiciary Training Institute, the universities, different universities in Bahrain, and of course the University of Bahrain and the Royal University for Women. Training is ongoing. And as I mentioned, the parties that we cooperate with, it is very specific that the essence of our training and our cooperation is always that human rights is a way of life. And this is what we try to instill and cooperate with, that to make it a style, of life. It's a culture. And we not only work, before I go into the regional cooperation, I must mention what we call in Arabic حقوقي, and it is my rights, and this is an ongoing program with the Supreme Council for Women, with the Judiciary Institute for Training, and with the BIPD and NIHR. And we train various incomers into this program. We've trained over 1,900 people since January 2018, and I add that to the achievements that we've talked about earlier in the episode. We've trained on child rights, special needs, the youth. It's numerous and various, and we work with the Police Academy as well, and with the Ministry of Interior to have the frontline officers that are dealing with the public that have a human rights approach. And we've achieved a lot, and they have achieved a lot as well.
And these training programs, I mean, you guys regularly go over them. I mean, these 1,900 candidates that you've trained, this is in less than a year. That's a massive number to have finished so fast. And having that training curriculum per se, it is updated with the current challenges facing the region and with the current area's needs, isn't it?
Absolutely, of course. Of course, it comes natural after a while, but update is very important. Laws change, legislations change, whether regional or local, on a national level or an international level, but the approach is always the same. And I must note that I'm part of a training core group that is established by the Ministry of Justice to graduate experts in the field of training. So it's a big step towards the awareness of the importance of training for everybody. And we update our information not only annually, I would say monthly.
Perfect. So after years of dedicated efforts, how does the NIHR assess its success? And how do you value the constant progress that is witnessed as evident by the annual reports that you guys publish?
On a personal note, I'm very proud of the team that I work with, of the Secretariat General that we have, and I'm very proud of what we have achieved and continue to achieve. We are on our 6th annual report this year. We have a benchmark, and that's a big challenge, because once you start a report on a high level, you have to continue on that.
You set the bar high.
Yeah, you set the bar high, so you have to exceed that. So I'm very proud. I mean, if you ask me for my assessment, I'm very proud of our achievements. Our achievements are also, reflected in numbers, and KPIs as well. So the number of complaints that we receive, over the years since we've started receiving complaints in 2011 until a few days ago, we've reached the 720 mark. In 2018, we've exceeded 100 complaints, and that is not legal, assistance. Legal assistance is more than that. In 2018, we're reaching the 300, the 320s as far. And we also have a new let me say, role right now is that we monitor
Yes.
alleged violations of human rights in social media. Social media is the new thing, as
Of course.
you know.
Best monitor ever.
You have to be careful
Yes.
because a lot of things are exaggerated. So that puts a very big responsibility on
Yes.
us, as you know, because there are a lot of allegations
Of course.
and a lot of things that are exaggerated,
Yeah.
and you can quickly fall into a trap. So you have to be very careful.
Yeah.
So we monitor that as well. And our role as monitors as well is an indicator of success, because we go and look, you know, for things.
Yeah.
And Sarah, I must point out that, you know, violations of human rights are not limited to political and civil rights.
Yes.
You know, we have health rights, education rights, social rights, cultural rights.
Yeah.
There are a lot of issues out there that you can attend to, and I always say that if you change one person's life a day, it's a success.
Yes, true. And it's also important to point out that the NIHR provides information and consultations to anyone that might think that their rights are being somehow violated.
In legal assistance, of course.
Yes.
When someone comes in and their complaint is not up to par to a complaint or the allegation of a violation of human rights, we offer them resource, and what I mean, legal advice,
Yes.
if you may say, but not as lawyers.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example just to drive a point home. If a woman comes in and she says that she's having domestic issues with her husband, this is not our mandate.
Yes.
You know, because we don't interfere in bilateral violations of human rights, but we don't turn her back. We advise her where to go. We work with the different ministries or institutions, or مثلا بيت الأمان, دار الأمان,
Yes.
that is under the Ministry of Social Development. We talk to them and we say, we have this case, can we send her to you? And they take on from there. So we provide them resources of where to go.
Okay, perfect. Well, we're going to take a little break before we continue this discussion.
تفنن يا القصيد وزخرف الدنيا شعر والحان، ولا خير بقصيد ما يهز الروح بلحانه. سلام الله على دار الحضارة دار أبو سلمان، سلام الله على شعب البلاد وكل سكانه.
تفنن يا القصيد وزخرف الدنيا شعر والحان، ولا خير بقصيد ما يهز الروح بلحانه. تفنن يا القصيد وزخرف الدنيا شعر والحان، ولا خير بقصيد ما يهز الروح بلحانه. سلام الله على دار الحضارة دار أبو سلمان، سلام الله على شعب البلاد وكل سكانه. على أرض المملكة نفرح وننثر للعروس ألوان، على البحرين يا درة قلوب الشعب يا دانا. تبارك يا وطن نجعل جوك بالفرح عمران، مدام ان القلوب تذوب في حبك وفرحانه. تفنن يا القصيد وزخرف الدنيا شعر والحان، ولا خير بقصيد ما يهز الروح بلحانه. سلام الله على دار الحضارة دار أبو سلمان، سلام الله على شعب البلاد وكل سكانه. شعر والحان ولا خير بقصيد ما يهز الروح بالحان سلام 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 الله على دار الحضارة دار أبو سلمان سلام الله على شعب البلاد وكل سكانها
Along with the international community, the National Institution for Human Rights held a ceremony in celebration of the Human Rights Day, which falls on December 10th of each year, marking the 70th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. More in this report.
The 10th of December is an important day for human rights defenders all over the world, marking today the 70th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights by the General Assembly in 1948. The National Institution for Human Rights, the independent national human rights mechanism established by His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa in 2009, underscores its commitment and firm approach towards protecting the fundamental freedoms and human rights in Bahrain.
We are very proud in Bahrain of the achievements that we have done in human rights, the progress, the continued cooperation. We work beautifully with all the other mechanisms in Bahrain.
In the presence of senior officials from civil society organizations, law enforcement and human rights defenders, the National Institution for Human Rights celebrates the values of justice, equality and coexistence, and a successful year for human rights in Bahrain and the advanced position it has reached.
2018 was an exceptional year for human rights here in the Kingdom of Bahrain, where there was a successful general election with an unprecedented turnout actually, of 67%. This year also marked that Bahrain became a member in the UN Human Rights Council, and the Kingdom of Bahrain as well has taken serious measures in the protection and promotion of fundamental rights and freedoms in the national level. Of course, the National Institution for Human Rights has taken serious steps in the protection and promotion of human rights, where it launched the first human rights hotline in the region.
On this occasion, the National Institution for Human Rights launched the strategy for the years 2019-2021 based on the promotion and protection of human rights in accordance with modern principles and international human rights frameworks. Reporting for Bahrain International, I'm Heba Abdul Ghaffar.
Welcome back. After talking about the training and also these multidisciplinary teams from ministries and institutions that the NIHR works with in order to ensure the rights of humans everywhere, but especially on the grounds of Bahrain. Despite its role in the human rights field, the NIHR has several social and environmental goals in which it engages with local societies to achieve them. What can you tell us about these goals?
Well, I started our conversation earlier, today in talking to you that we are members of the UN Global Compact, and that has 3 or 4 major roles, and we take that into society as well, whether it's anti-corruption or in the environment or labor. We encourage businesses in Bahrain to adopt a sustainable social policy, because we believe that a human rights based business is the way to the future.
Yes.
Economy is what drives us. So we have an input in that. Putting that aside, on a practical level, we have a green policy in the NIHR. We recycle. Our paper is recycled. Our bottles are recycled. We're looking to a future in 2019 where one of our main strategies will be the environment impact on human rights.
Yes.
So hopefully we'll talk more about that, and you'll hear more about that, because we want to lay the foundations of promoting that people have to realize that there is a human right obligation on the environment.
Yes.
And everybody is talking about that. The enjoyment of safe environment, clean, healthy environment, a sustainable environment.
Yes.
On a social level, of course, we work very closely with the NGOs, and we work with different societies in Bahrain. Passionately, we work a lot with the groups of special needs, whether it's autism or Down syndrome. And recently, upon our radar on NIHR is those that are suffering from sickler as well. So hopefully in 2019, you will see more of our involvement with that.
Yes. 2019 is coming up, and when it comes to the milestones of the implementation of the SDGs, 2020 is a milestone because we're halfway there, and initiatives like the NIHR is taking in basically promoting the environment are actually human rights, because the environment is part of what the humans need in order to survive and so on. What are the future plans and the upcoming projects that are being prepared by the NIHR?
Of course, our first and ongoing project will be implementing and executing our strategy.
Yes.
That's an ongoing project, and hopefully, and if God gives us, as they say, umr and life, we will talk about that a year from today, and we will evaluate ourselves
then and now.
and then, you know, of how much we've achieved, because our KPIs are quarterly. We will, and that is new for the national institution to have KPIs on their performance. In addition, we want to fulfill the dreams of certain groups of people that feel that the legislation for their needs are there, but implementing them is taking a bit of a time.
Yes.
And those are children with special needs. And I've elaborated on them, you know, earlier, with the children with autism when it comes to their education and their integration in a classroom.
Yes.
There are some challenges there. That is something that we're going to work on with the concerned authorities when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm.
We will continue on our outreach programs for the expat community. You will see us in 2019 reaching out to different communities. As I said, in 2018 we've approached different communities, and in 2019 you'll see us approaching and expanding a little bit more than that.
Okay.
I must say that we will continue to work with passion.
Yes.
And a deep desire to serve and promote human rights and a culture of human rights on our island.
Yes. Thank you so much, Ms. Maria Khouri. Before we end the program, just a few words from you on this National Day.
Oh, happy National Day to all of us. National Day means a lot.
Yes.
It means a day of commitment.
Yes.
That we renew our commitment and our love to our country, our common humanity. Is the crux of the matter. I think in Bahrain, every day, not on National Day only, we should all walk with our heads up high.
Yes.
And in discipline, because we serve the vision, of His Majesty, the King, who has a vision not limited to, but what always comes to my mind, that he has a vision of a culture of peaceful coexistence.
Yes.
And I believe this is the best plan that we can have because a society and a country that has a vision of peace can achieve a lot with its people.
Thank you so much, Ms. Maria Khouri, and happy National Day to you as well. And the work of the NIHR has always been part of every single Bahraini resident or citizen's life here in Bahrain. And the NIHR really does support all of the human rights, and people know what they're up against and where they can go for help.
Thank you, Sarah. And as always, I want to say, I have to put a plug in. You know where to find us, the National Institution of Human Rights. There are many ways of approaching us in person, through our apps on the mobiles, or through the hotline, which is 8000-1144,
yes,
or by email and by phone.
Yes, perfect. Thank you so much. We would also like to thank you for tuning in on our special coverage for our beloved country's celebrations. Dear viewers, happy National Day, and thank you for watching.